bumps and bruises along the way. It's so profound.
Hi everyone, welcome to Life After the X with Ty Washington, your ex-con expert, where we're here to level out the playing grounds because it's all about your perspective. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, we got the music back, y'all. Yeah. So as we wait on a few people to jump in and join with us, just enjoy the music.
Don't you worry about judgment from people.
Don't worry about people trying to judge you.
Just look to be encouraged by the ones that see you.
Just worry about the ones that your testimony is going to bless.
So you gotta get up, brush yourself off. It's not the end of the world. Straighten up and hold your head high. Walk in
Thanks for the ones who've joined on so far. We're just waiting on a few more people to get logged on. Welcome to Life After the X. I'm Ty Washington, the ex-con expert. Thanks for joining in. We're here every week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Please share.
What did you learn? What did you earn? Life is the bridge. What did you burn? Take a page from the book and elevate yourself. This is how you celebrate yourself. Move on and try to elevate your wealth. A lesson learned for your own purpose. Own purpose. Soul searching is the way you improve. When you got something to lose.
Welcome everybody who's joined on. We're just waiting on a few more to get on. And if you missed this one, you can go back and replay it. And please share it.
There's a lot for you to learn from every fall, twist and turn. And no matter what they say about you, they can feel any way about you. Anyway, it's all for you to live in, all for you to give, all for you to learn from, all for you to jump into life and give it a go.
Welcome all who's joined in with us. And thank you for joining in.
Life after the X. 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 Life after experience is the best teacher.
Yes, experience is the best teacher. So again, my name is Ty Washington. I'm an ex-con expert, and welcome to Life After the X, where we're here to level out the playing grounds because it's all about your perspective. So today I want to talk about walking in newness, and what that looks like is what it looks like to start a new chapter in your life. And so I'll give some pointers that I hope will encourage you on when God tells you that you can walk in newness to a promise that He has promised you. Then how to go about doing that. And as well, I want to start out by talking about how to know when it's time to close out a chapter. Because sometimes, we can't walk into that newness because we don't know how to get out of the old. We don't know how to close a chapter, or what it looks like to close that chapter, to open up a new chapter in our life, which is the beginning of walking into newness. So when I say learn what it looks like to close out a chapter, it's like, what does those signs look like? So one of the things that I've noticed in my life is that when I've had a test over and over and over again, like the same test, in situations. Situations may present itself differently within a relationship dynamic, within a work relationship dynamic. I notice that I get that same test again and again. And sometimes when you get tests, it's meant for you to grow in a certain area within that relationship dynamic, whether it be professionally or personally. So sometimes the test is there to help you see where you can refine, be better within yourself, something you need to look at that will improve you in what you were gifted and created to do. But sometimes when you continually have these tests, they're meant to tell you, it's a sign that it's time to move on to something higher, to something greater. You know, we are supposed to grow in our knowledge and our wisdom. And so when we have tests, just like when you're in school, you have sometimes the same information from grade school all the way through college, but it's on different levels. And that's where you come in and you grow as you elevate to the next level of what you were created to do. But when you realize you have reached that pinnacle in that point of your life, it's time to know when it's time to change, close a chapter, and walk into newness. So again, when you are having the same test over and over again, and you notice that you're not necessarily growing, but you're growing, but you feel stagnated in that situation, it's time to move on to something new. That's what I would call someone as a repeat offender. They allow themselves to continually do the same thing, expecting something different, not necessarily growth, wisdom, and knowledge from it, but they're stagnated in that situation from the same test that's been brought to them to make them become aware of something, to say, stop, it's time to change and do something different in your life. And so at that point, when you realize that that you've had these repeat tests and it's time to do something different, because again, if you're doing the same thing, expecting something different, we call that insanity. And I call that a repeat offender. And so at some point, you're going to get arrested in that situation. It's going to take you out or bring you down to a place where you really don't want to be, almost broken. And so hopefully I can share some points with you in walking in newness and starting a new chapter, that, you know, when you see that repeat test that you're not growing from, and your lessons are looking not like blessings, but as more like burdens over and over again, then it's time to start to research into what God wants you to elevate into a new newness. And so, looking at that new chapter in your life, I have a couple of points I want to bring out. So when I noticed that I was having some repeat tests, and I knew that it was time to move on in a relationship with an individual, I had to do some soul searching. One of the things I had to do was come up with me a plan of how I was going to come out of that relationship in the most healthy way for myself and the individual. Because sometimes you can remove yourself from a relationship, and the individual may take some offense from it because they don't realize that it's just not meant for you guys to move further, go further in life together. And so to minimize the bitterness that could arise from you moving on to your new chapter away from that individual in your life, there are some things that you do. One, you pray hard because you want God's guidance to make sure that you're not doing anything that is not like Him in love as you transition from that relationship chapter and move it on to your new chapter in life. And so when I would encounter people that I knew I had to move away from, I prayed and I sought God and I asked God for His guidance. I said, God, please show me what it is that you need me to do to make sure that I close out this relationship with this person, this chapter, to move on in my life, because I'm now stagnated, I'm not growing, and I'm not happy, and I know that's not what you would have for me. So I made some notations. I would write it down, and I switched it up. Like if, say, I was going to a group with this individual, I started doing a different group with some new people. And I just wrote it down, I made it plain, and I switched it up. So my schedule changed out. I filled it in with other things, so therefore my time wouldn't be empty. So therefore I wouldn't feel lonely and missing out on that situation and that individual that I knew I need to move away from. Because sometimes when you move away from things and you get lonely, you want to go back because you feel tempted to think that maybe I made a mistake. Maybe it wasn't meant for me to close out that chapter. Maybe I just need to turn another page. Maybe I should have put a comma in there. But if you realize that you're not growing and it's becoming unhealthy for you, almost very toxic, it's time to close out that chapter. But you need to seek him in through prayer to make sure he guides you, but have something that you can put into that slot. So shake up your schedule and do something. Find some other things to be involved with that will be healthy for you, that you enjoy. So therefore, you will meet new people that God will place in your life. So therefore, that transition wouldn't seem as critical to closing out on one and moving to the other. Do something out of the ordinary. So normally, if you would go to one type of group with a group of people, something in the same industry, find a new group. It is so many different industry associations that are out there. Like me as an artist, I'm an artist where I design and I sew. I'm an artist, I write. I'm an artist where I sing and I dance. And so me as an artist, I didn't have to stay in my group for just sewing. I did for a long time, but I never expounded out to go hang out in other organizations that were different, out of the ordinary for me as a writer, because I thought I just need to go hang out with this one group. I wasn't a writer at that time. I didn't even realize I was going to be a writer. As a matter of fact, as God was closing me out of a chapter that he pushed me into doing because I didn't know how to do these things myself, I did not have a machine around me. So that's why I started writing, to find something else to do. Writing has always been inside of me. So I had to get out of the ordinary and start visiting other associations and groups of other things that I knew I possibly liked. I just never did it because I stayed within the associations and circle of what my work skill place provided. So do something out of the ordinary. Take off your hero cape. It's okay. People think that you're supposed to stay with the same people all the time for your whole life. That's a false thing. Some people are not meant to be with you for your whole life. And so when you start to move away, they think that you're not able to handle things in their relationship situation. So therefore, you start feeling like a superhero, and you stay there because you think you can handle all this stuff that's coming, which are tests that you're going to eventually keep flunking, repeating and flunking, because you're trying to be this superhero around people to stay around the wrong people. And so take off the cape, because you cannot be a superhero for anyone. You can't even be a superhero for yourself. Jesus is the only hero in this story called life. And so I realized when I went through a time when God needed me to move and transition to a new chapter, and I was staying stuck in the same chapter. Matter of fact, I started writing on the pages and trying to create some stuff within that chapter to keep the story going, to change it around, to give it my own spin. And I was just only making mistakes that was endangering myself. And I was taking tests, and I was flunking a whole lot of them, like over and over again. I mean, stuff that I should have known and I knew from previous tests in my life. And so he literally removed me from everybody. That was my time of a sabbatical when I was incarcerated. And he told me, you're not a superhero, and you're not going to be around all these people trying to help everybody all the time, staying in these friendships and relationships that were unhealthy, no growing, stagnated, and damaging yourself and them as well. You need to throw off the cape, seek my face, and seek to be rescued for yourself, because you cannot be good for yourself, or no one else, unless you're good for yourself first. So I had to take off the superhero cape and stop trying to stay in relationships that I was no saving them, with no saving that situation, and go on to the next level, my new chapter of life. Rediscover some things that you like and you enjoy. A lot of times we have things that we really enjoy and we think we can't enjoy them. Why? Because we think we probably can't afford them. Like, let's say going out to dinner or to a movie. And sometimes we may be where we financially cannot do some of those things. You can find a whole lot of things that you enjoy that don't cost any money. There are a lot of things. And so unless you seek out through making a change up in your schedule, going to some different environments, getting out of the ordinary, meeting some new people, that's going to be a part of your new chapter. You'll discover that there's a lot of things that you can do that you really enjoy that won't cost you anything but your time. And of course, your time is valuable to you. And so since you're enjoying it, it's no big deal. And so rediscover things that you enjoy. Ask God to show you the things that will really be enjoyment for you, because sometimes things we think they're enjoying, they're not enjoying. They're just temporary thrills and temporary thrills and frills that are short lived, and we get it caught up in them, and we create this routine of doing these things, and we run across things and we stay in them because we get these connections started and don't know how to close out the chapters in them, and we're really not enjoying them. We just find something to like about it still and keep going when it's time to close out that chapter, rediscover things that you truly enjoy about yourself, and move on to that new chapter. And so, and it's okay when you mess up and you fall off and fall back, because it's going to happen. So be kind to yourself when stuff like that happens. Don't be beating yourself up. Forgive yourself when you happen to go back into a situation that you knew that you wasn't supposed to be in. You thought you closed that chapter out, you turned the page, but all of a sudden the wind blew and the page flew back over that way, and you ran across them at some event or situation, and you thought that was meant for you to restart something up with them, and the test happened and you failed. Don't beat yourself up. It's going to happen. Just know that when you see that again, know that that was a clear period, not a comma that you thought on the other page because it flew over there. You had moved on to a new chapter. You knew you were supposed to be gone from that situation. You ran into them probably to be a light or an example, maybe share your testimony, some encouragement, no telling what, but it wasn't meant for you to start all over with that person again. Now, sometimes that does happen, but most times when it's time for you to close a chapter with somebody, ain't no going back and restoring it. So don't be fooling yourself thinking that it's meant for you to create this whole new thing. Your newness, walking in newness, is over here in a whole new chapter. A whole new chapter. And you're the main character with God guiding you through the steps of giving you your discerning spirit to show you who you're supposed to know and keep in that new chapter, and not necessarily pulling old characters from the old chapter. Contribute to something bigger than yourself. You know what I discovered? I mean, when I first got asked about going back to prison, or even going out and helping people who had gone through some type of trauma like myself, the answer was no. Because one, I was very private, and I didn't really want a lot of people in my business that already hadn't Googled and mugshotted me up anyway. So I wanted to keep the little bit to myself that I thought I still had. And I was going to miss one of the greatest things God wanted me to be doing, which was ministry work, going back and sharing my life experiences with others to help them along the journey, which has only helped me become even better for myself. So contribute to something greater than yourself. So going back to prison, it was a process. I mean, because I wanted to not be there. So when I came home and going back and hearing the bars and all that stuff, and then the people that I had left behind, I was already getting past the sadness because I made some friends, and to see them made me all sad all over again. So it was some things that may tap into some of your personal feelings and emotions, but God can give you the strength to surpass that. Think bigger. Think bigger. So contribute to something bigger than yourself. So going back and helping someone, if you've gone through domestic violence, go back and help someone through a center, maybe going in and helping with feeding or with a walk or raise some money, do a fundraiser, anything that's bigger than yourself, that is something close to what you've experienced. Go back and contribute to something bigger than yourself, because I'm telling you that it will show you about your new chapter, and what other new things that are meant for you to have and walking in newness, and how you'll grow and elevate and transition to even higher things because you decided to contribute to something bigger. You discovered a new mission for your life. You discovered a new passion for your life. You discovered a new purpose for your life. And we get purposes over and over again. Sometimes you have a purpose all your life, and sometimes your life may elevate into a purpose during this season, and then another purpose during this season, and then another purpose during this season of your life. But you won't notice that or see that unless you go and tap into something bigger than yourself. Step out on faith. Don't let fear handicap you, because fear is just false evidence of things appearing to be real, and typically that same thing that you would fear don't even end up manifesting. So it blocks you from moving forward, and that's a trick and a lie from the devil, so that you cannot walk into your newness and start this new chapter over. And if it's some goals and visions that you believe that were for you, write them down. So my last point is, write it down. Write your story. It says in Habakkuk, write it on your tablet, make it plain. I was writing all the time. Like, I wrote a lot. I had a lot of time too. That was a great detoxing for me, because I was able to rewrite some things that I had learned some things from, made some notes to help myself reflect back on, so I don't make the same mistakes again. And if I was ever able to share something, I would have a template to share it from. And that's how my first book was created, because I was rewriting my story, and a lot of them was in poetic forms. And so it became a personal journal in poetic form, and now it's a devotional that can encourage others as well as myself. So rewrite it, write it down, make it plain for your new chapter. You've learned some things from your previous chapter. You've got to learn a lot of lessons. Some of them were very costly, but more of them were very valuable because they were blessings. There were blessings in those lessons, whether they was costly, but they become valuable because you can use them to help you rewrite your story, so therefore you can move on further in your life. And so when you have, and you know that you have a life after the X, you're going to be starting over. It's okay to move from that old chapter to a new chapter. But knowing how to recognize when it's time to do that, knowing what people are supposed to go from the old chapter to the new chapter, knowing what things and situations to bring over from the old chapter to the new chapter, knowing things about yourself that you need to definitely leave in your past and don't bring them into the new chapter, because you're walking in newness. And then with that newness, you don't need a lot of that old baggage. That's why it's in the old chapter. And it has a place, and it may be there to help somebody else over there, but it's not meant for you to bring it over here into your newness and into your new chapter in your life. And so I pray that I have shared something that will be encouraging to you when you realize that you are being tested over and over again with the same situation, and you're recognizing that you're not growing, you are becoming stagnated. And you're missing the point of wisdom of saying it's time to close this chapter and go into a new chapter. Seek God for his guidance, for his wisdom, for his encouragement, for his strength, for his forgiveness, for you to let that go so you can move forward and pivoting over into that new chapter. It's going to be so amazing. I cannot probably give a good word to share how much my new chapter of life has been since I realized it was time for me to move into it. Completely move into it. Close that one down and only bring what was really necessary from that one, because everything wasn't. And I was able to be in this new chapter and experience a whole world of things that I just didn't even think I was worthy of, that I didn't even think I was deserving of because of that. But I had to learn how to free myself from that old chapter, that old person, that old way of thinking, that old way of living, and realize my value, my worth, that I was worthy of this newness, my new chapter, and all these great things and promises and blessings that God had for me over here in the new chapter that he wanted me to share with other people like yourself. And so I'm just excited about this new chapter in my life. and I'm always excited about the new next chapter because I know that I've learned how to close out a chapter. I know how to recognize the flags, the tests, the signs, the warnings that lets me know when it's time to move away from the old and walk in this newness. Because every time you grow, there's going to be some newness. And sometimes you outgrow that spot where you are. And so that was my first sign. You have outgrown that spot where you are. And you need to get into a new spot that fits you a whole lot better. And it's going to look good on you. Because the other one's looking kind of tight on you. Like, I'm going to use a seamstress form here. Have people who have gained a little weight and they have this favorite outfit and they just love this outfit, but this outfit is not looking the best on them anymore, but they're going to keep this outfit because it's their favorite outfit, and the outfit has probably gotten them some great compliments and built their self-esteem, love, and different things. But when you move on to that new size, you might have to let that outfit go. Now you have to look into that new outfit that's going to make you look even better, feel even better. It's going to encourage you even more. And you can probably, maybe if it's meant for that new outfit to stay in your repertoire, bring it over me to Flip Couture. And maybe I can assist you with redesigning it for your new chapter, because clearly ain't no letting it out. You can't fit it anymore. It's time to decide if it's meant for you to move it into the new chapter or leave it in the past, to transition you into that level of newness and that new look. Because you right people like hobby as your seamstress and get that new outfit to fit you a whole lot better in your new chapter of life. And so again, I pray that I have said something that will encourage you on your journey. As you walk into newness, I know that I'm praying for you. I'm here every week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. To share an experience that I have experienced. If you have some questions, please drop them. If you have some suggestions and comments, please put them in the comments. Please send them to me. I'm open for things. I'm also looking for people who may want to come in and tag team and share their story and testimony along with me. Again, it's all about the experience and the lessons that you've learned from them, because there is a life after the X. And so with life after the X, I want to remind you, do not allow anyone to X you out, because any X would do. And that's what a testimony is, to keep you being overcoming from the past and moving into your newness, into your greatness that God has promised you in your life. I am Tina Washington. You call me Ty, the ex-con expert, and I'm just here to level out the playing grounds, because it's all about your perspective. God bless.